It started with innocent looks, then turned into something I couldn't control. Hey, my name is Mary, and falling in love with my husband's younger brother was the most dangerous thing I've ever done. Don't forget to subscribe, because what happened next will leave you speechless. I'll never forget the day I met Daniel. It was a humid July afternoon at my in-laws' sprawling backyard barbecue, the kind where everyone's laughing too loud and the air smells like grilled meat and sunscreen. My husband, Tom, was busy flipping burgers, his face flushed from the heat, and a beer in hand. I was sitting at a picnic table, picking at a plate of potato salad when Daniel walked in. He was late. As usual, Tom had warned me. Daniel, Tom's younger brother by 5 years, had a reputation for being the family's charming screw-up. He strolled through the gate, wearing a faded t-shirt and jeans that hung just right, his dark hair messy like he'd just rolled out of bed. He had this easy grin, the kind that made you feel like he was in on a joke you wanted to hear. I didn't think much of it at first, just another face in Tom's loud, chaotic family. Hey, you must be Mary, he said, plopping down across from me. His voice was warm, teasing, like we'd known each other forever. I smiled, nodding, and he leaned forward, elbows on the table. Tom's been hiding you away, huh? I laughed, brushing it off. Hardly. He just knows I'm not big on family chaos. Smart move, he said, his eyes catching mine for a second too long. There was something in that look, playful, but sharp, like he saw right through my polite small talk. I felt a flicker of something, a warmth I hadn't expected. I chalked it up to nerves. New family, new faces. Over the next few hours, I caught myself watching him. Daniel moved through the crowd effortlessly, cracking jokes with cousins, tossing a football with the kids. He wasn't like Tom, who was steady, predictable, always in control. Daniel was alive in a way that felt dangerous, like he could spark a fire without trying. Later that evening, we ended up at the same cooler, reaching for drinks. Our hands brushed, and I pulled back too fast, my cheeks hot. Sorry, I mumbled, but he just grinned. No harm done, he said, handing me a soda. You sticking around for the fireworks? Think so, I said, trying to sound casual. We stood there chatting about nothing, music, summer plans, how Tom always burned the burgers. It was easy, too easy. His laugh was infectious, and every time his eyes met mine, that flicker came back, stronger. By the time Tom called me over to sit with him, I was rattled. I told myself it was nothing, just a silly moment with a guy who happened to be charming. But as I sat next to my husband, watching the fireworks light up the sky, I couldn't stop glancing at Daniel across the yard. And when he looked back, I knew I was in trouble. The family trip to the lake house was supposed to be a break, 5 days of swimming, bonfires, and lazy mornings with Tom. I'd been looking forward to it, a chance to reconnect after months of his long hours at work. But when Tom mentioned Daniel was coming, my stomach twisted. I told myself it was nothing. I'd barely thought about him since the barbecue. At least, that's what I kept repeating in my head. We arrived at the lake house on a Friday, the air thick with pine and the promise of summer. Daniel pulled up in his beat-up truck just as we were unloading groceries, music blaring from his open windows. He hopped out, sunglasses on, carrying a cooler like it weighed nothing. Hope you're ready for me to kick your ass at poker, Tom, he called, grinning. Tom laughed, clapping him on the shoulder. I busied myself with bags, avoiding Daniel's eyes. The first day was fine. I stuck close to Tom, helping with meals, lounging by the water. Daniel was just there, part of the chaos with Tom's parents and cousins. But by day 2, things shifted. Tom got roped into fixing the boat with his dad, leaving me and Daniel at the house while the others went into town. We ended up on the porch, me with a book, him strumming a guitar he'd found in the attic. You read a lot, he asked, breaking the silence. His fingers paused on the strings, and I felt his gaze. When I get the chance, I said, keeping my eyes on the page. What's it about? He leaned forward, resting the guitar against the railing. I hesitated, then closed the book. It's a mystery. Kinda cheesy. Cheesy's good, he said, smiling. Tell me about it. And just like that, we were talking, really talking. About books, then movies, then the time he backpacked across Europe and got lost in Prague. His stories were wild, full of color, and I found myself laughing harder than I had in weeks. He had this way of pulling me in, making the world feel bigger, brighter. It wasn't flirting, not exactly, but it felt personal. Like he wanted me to know him. That night, we all played cards around the kitchen table. Daniel sat across from me, and every time he dealt, his fingers brushed mine, accidental but electric. Once, he caught my eye and winked, quick enough that no one else noticed. My heart raced, and I excused myself to get water, splashing some on my face in the sink. Get it together, Mary, I thought. He's just being friendly. But when I came back, his laugh, his glances, they hit differently. By the end of the trip, I was hyper aware of him. The way he stretched by the dock, the way he teased me about burning the marshmallows. Tom didn't seem to notice, but I did. Every moment with Daniel felt like a step towards something I couldn't name and didn't want to. Chapter 3. The moment everything changed. It was the fourth night at the lake house, and the air felt heavier, like the world was holding its breath. Dinner had been loud, too much wine, too many stories, and by midnight, everyone had crashed except me and Daniel. I couldn't sleep, my mind buzzing with thoughts I didn't want to face. Tom was snoring in our room, oblivious, while I slipped downstairs to clear my head. The kitchen was dark, lit only by the faint glow of the porch light seeping through the windows. I was pouring a glass of water when I heard footsteps. Daniel appeared in the doorway, barefoot, wearing a loose t-shirt and sweatpants. His hair was messy, eyes sleepy, but sharp when they landed on me. Couldn't sleep either, he asked, voice low, like he didn't want to wake the house. I shook my head, gripping the glass too tightly. Just restless. He nodded, stepping closer to grab a bottle of juice from the fridge. The space felt smaller with him in it, the air charged. We didn't say anything for a moment, just stood there, the hum of the fridge filling the silence. Then he leaned against the counter, so close I could smell the faint cedar of his cologne. You okay, Mary? He asked, and it wasn't casual. His eyes searched mine, like he saw the storm I was trying to hide. I'm fine, I lied, but my voice cracked. I set the glass down, my hands shaky. Just tired. He didn't buy it. He stepped closer, just a half step, but it was enough to make my pulse race. You don't seem fine, he said softly. Talk to me. I should have walked away. I should have gone back to bed, to Tom, to safety. But I didn't. I looked up at him, and his face was so open, so unguarded, that I felt myself unravel. I don't know what I'm doing here, I whispered, more to myself than him. His hand reached out, brushing my arm, just to graze, but it burned. You're here with me, he said, and the words felt like a confession. His fingers lingered, warm against my skin, and I didn't pull away. Our eyes locked, and the world narrowed to just us, the inches between us shrinking. Then he leaned in, slow, giving me time to stop him. My heart screamed to move, to run, but my body stayed rooted. His breath was warm, his lips so close. Then I turned my head at the last second, stepping back, my chest heaving. Daniel, we can't, I said, my voice barely audible. But even as I said it, I felt the truth. I'd wanted him to kiss me. I'd wanted it so badly it scared me. He didn't push, just nodded, his jaw tight. I know, he said, but his eyes said something else, something that made my guilt twist sharper. I fled to my room, heart pounding, guilt and desire clawing at me. That night, I lay next to Tom, wide awake, knowing everything had changed. The morning after that night in the kitchen, I could barely look at Daniel. The lake house felt like a minefield, every room holding the ghost of what almost happened. I stuck to Tom like glue, helping with breakfast, laughing too loud at his jokes, anything to drown out the memory of Daniel's touch. But my skin still burned where his fingers had been, and my mind kept replaying that moment, his breath, his eyes, the pull I'd fought to resist. Daniel didn't make it easy. He wasn't obvious about it, no lingering stares in front of the family, but he found ways to be near me. When I was washing dishes, he'd grab a towel to dry, standing close enough that our elbows brushed. When we all sat by the fire, he'd pick the chair across from me, his gaze catching mine when Tom wasn't looking. Each time, I'd look away, heart racing, telling myself to stay strong. Tom noticed something was off. "You okay, babe?" he asked on the last day as we packed the car. His brow furrowed, concern in his steady brown eyes. "You've been quiet." "Just tired," I said, forcing a smile. "Long week." He bought it, kissing my forehead, but I felt like a fraud. Tom was good, solid, loyal, the man I'd promised my life to. So why was my heart tripping over his brother? Back home, I thought distance would help. No more lake house, no more late night traps. But Daniel didn't fade. He'd text me innocent stuff like a meme or a joke about Tom's bad cooking. But each message felt like a tether pulling me back to him. I'd respond, short and polite, then hate myself for it. I tried to fill my days with work, errands, anything to keep my mind off him, but he was there in every quiet moment. Then came the family dinner at Tom's parents' house. I begged Tom to skip it, claiming a headache, but he insisted. "Mom will be upset if we bail," he said, oblivious to my panic. Daniel was there, of course, sitting across the table, his easy grin hiding whatever he was feeling. I kept my eyes on my plate, but I felt him watching me, his presence like a current I couldn't escape. After dinner, I volunteered to clear the table, needing space. Daniel followed, carrying a stack of plates. "Need a hand?" he asked, his voice low, casual for anyone listening. "I'm good," I said sharply, scrubbing a dish too hard. But he stayed, leaning against the counter, just like that night at the lake. "Mary," he said, so soft it was almost a whisper, "you don't have to keep running from me." I froze, my hands trembling in the soapy water. "I'm not running," I lied. "I'm married, Daniel. Whatever this is, it's not happening." He didn't argue, just looked at me with those eyes that saw too much. "Okay," he said finally. But he didn't move, and I knew this wasn't over. The weeks after that dinner were a blur of guilt and longing. I threw myself into being the perfect wife, cooking Tom's favorite meals, planning date nights, anything to anchor myself to him. But Daniel was a shadow I couldn't shake. His texts kept coming, each one a spark I didn't know how to extinguish. "Saw this and thought of you," he'd write, attaching a photo of a sunset or a song link. I'd delete them, but not before they burned into me. Then came the night that broke everything. Tom was working late, and I was alone, scrolling through my phone when Daniel called. I shouldn't have answered, but my thumb hit accept before I could stop it. "Hey," he said, his voice warm, hesitant. "You free to talk?" I swallowed, my heart already racing. "Tom's not here," I said, like that explained anything. "Good," he said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. "I've been wanting to say something, Mary, for a while. I knew I should hang up. I knew it, but I didn't. Daniel, don't. I'm in love with you." The words landed like a punch, stealing my breath. I've tried to stop, tried to stay away, but I can't. Every time I see you, it's like you're the only thing that matters. My mouth went dry. I gripped the phone, my mind screaming at me to end the call, to tell him he was wrong, but my heart was louder. "You can't say that," I whispered. "I'm married. To your brother." "I know," he said, voice raw, "and I hate myself for it. But I see how you look at me, Mary. I know you feel it too." I wanted to deny it, to scream that he was imagining things, but the truth choked me. I did feel it, every glance, every touch, every moment we'd stolen. I was drowning in it. "Meet me," he said, "just to talk. Please." I don't know why I said yes. Maybe I was tired of fighting. Maybe I just needed to see him, to make it real. We met at a quiet park near my house, the kind of place where no one would notice us. He was waiting by a bench, hands in his pockets, looking nervous for the first time since I'd met him. "Mary," he started, but I shook my head, stepping closer. "Don't," I said, but my voice betrayed me, trembling. He reached for my hand, and I didn't pull away. His touch was fire, and before I could think, he was leaning in, and this time I didn't stop him. His lips met mine, soft, desperate, and for one shattering moment, nothing else existed. No Tom, no vows, just us. But then reality crashed in. I pushed him back, tears burning my eyes. "This is wrong," I said, stepping away. "I can't do this." He rapped, but he nodded. "I'll wait," he said. "As long as it takes." I drove home, guilt clawing at me, the taste of him still on my lips. I crossed the line, and there was no going back. The days after the kiss were torture. I couldn't look at Tom without feeling like a traitor, his easy smiles cutting deeper than any accusation could. I avoided Daniel's calls, deleted his texts unopened, but he was still there in every quiet moment, his voice echoing in my head. I'll wait. I wanted to hate him for saying it, for making this my choice, but the truth was worse. I couldn't hate him at all. I tried to fix things with Tom. I planned a weekend getaway. Just us. A cozy cabin where I could remember why I'd married him. He was thrilled, packing with a boyish grin, oblivious to the war inside me. But even there, with his arm around me by the fire, I felt distant, my mind drifting to Daniel's laugh, his touch. Tom sensed it. "You sure you're okay?" he asked, his brow creasing. I nodded, lying again, but his eyes lingered, like he was starting to see the cracks. Back home, I knew I couldn't keep running. Daniel wouldn't stay silent forever, and Tom deserved better than half a wife. I had to choose, my marriage, flawed but steady, or the reckless pull of something I couldn't even name. Every option felt like a betrayal. I spent nights awake, staring at the ceiling, imagining a life with Daniel, then hating myself for it. But imagining a life without him hurt just as much. Then it all came to a head. Tom's mom invited us for Sunday dinner, a casual thing, but Daniel would be there. I wanted to say no, but Tom insisted, and I couldn't find an excuse that didn't sound suspicious. The whole drive over, my stomach churned. I kept my hands clenched in my lap, dreading the moment I'd see him. Dinner was a blur. I barely tasted the food, my eyes fixed on my plate, but I felt Daniel across the table, his presence like a magnet. Tom was quieter than usual, his hand resting on mine, but it felt heavy, like he was holding on too tight. After dessert, Tom's mom shooed us into the living room to catch up. And somehow, it ended up just the three of us, me, Tom, and Daniel. The air was thick, the silence unbearable. Tom broke it first. "Mary, what's going on with you?" His voice was calm, but there was an edge I'd never heard before. "You've been off for weeks. And I'm not stupid. I've seen how you look at him." My heart stopped. Daniel froze, his eyes flicking to me, but he didn't say a word. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. The room felt too small, their faces too close. Tom's gaze was steady, hurt, waiting. Daniel's was raw, hopeful, breaking me. "Mary," Tom said, softer now, "just tell me the truth." I stood there, my next words hanging like a blade. Whatever I said, someone would shatter, and I wasn't sure I'd survive it either.